moms are left with this hole in their heart when the kids just up and disappear. Sometimes with a reason, sometimes without a reason, sometimes
why are you outside?
Destruction, sometimes they just are gone. And nobody knows where they are or what they're doing, and there's no closure.
Nobody knows where they are or what they're doing is a weird way to say everyone except one person knows where they are and what they're doing.
Everybody's pain is intense and horrific, and parents, I'm talking about loving, conscientious parents who did the best they could raising this child, they're quite often blindsided.
When she says, I'm talking about loving, conscientious parents, even the parents who are not like you specifically, still look at this and go, oh, that's me. I did the best I could. I did the best. I did. You know, some people say I was the best parent. They're saying they've never seen a parent like me. They're saying they looked into my parent blood and it wasn't parent blood, it was USA.
I had no idea any of this was going to happen, and they don't know what to do. There's so many emotions, and they just feel lost, trapped, sad, depressed, angry, all at the same time. It's a whirlwind. So there are just a lot of questions, and if they cut off communication, if there's no contact, then you can't have a discussion. You can't work it out. You can't, you can reflect back in your own void, basically, and try to speculate what went wrong. What did you mess up? Where did you, where were you off? Where did you make a mistake? Where should you have done things differently? But you're just doing this in your own mind because you have no feedback from the actual child. And so without communication, you can't work it out. And many times they'll refuse to go to a family therapy. And so you can't even work it out.
What? Like, yes, I would also refuse to go to family therapy with my abuser, but like, you need therapy, woman. You need therapy. You don't need to like try and bait them into family therapy so you could try and tell them what they did wrong, and then you're gonna get mad when the therapist is like, actually it was you. You need to go to therapy.
It's a hard road, and this journey it's a journey of grief. It's ambiguous grief. It's ambiguous grief because it's like you're grieving somebody who's died, but they're not dead, but they're kind of dead to you. So ambiguous grief is a lot like the loss of a dream, the loss of an expectation, the loss of things working out the way you thought they would work out, maybe initially when you had
She's
kids.
Never gonna make a single good point.
But here's the thing, it's really easy to focus on all the bad stuff we did, or the mistakes we made. But
you haven't done that.
Happening typically, unless we have an undiagnosed mental illness, or if we were a sexual or physical abuser or an ongoing verbal abuser, I'm not talking about that.
What do you mean ongoing verbal abuser, dude? Like, stop being mean to you when you turn 25. Like, why is it still a problem now that you're 26?
Parents that I talk to, that's not really applicable to them. They were just people doing the best they could with what they knew at the time. And now the kids are gone and they don't know what to do. But it's so easy to focus on whatever mistake we might have made that time that I yelled at her, like way too much for the situation. That probably scared her. And did I apologize for that later? I don't think so. And maybe I should have. Or, that time.
But then that they do a good job of being like, I did this maybe one time, but you did that weekly, maybe even daily. You're so close.
When I didn't let her go to her friend's house for a sleepover because of some reason. Who knows?
These aren't real reasons.
It's so easy to get into our own heads and just keep going over, okay, what did I do wrong? Oh, I did that wrong. I did that wrong. I did that wrong. I did that wrong. And I'm a shitty parent because I did that wrong. I'm so terrible. What a terrible person I am. God, what's my problem? That my child would stop talking to me. I must be a horrible person. And then you go down that rabbit hole of like, I suck and it's all my fault. And I'm worthless. I'm a horrible human being. I screwed it up. It's just this pit of negativity that we get into in our own heads, and our own crap talker just won't stop. And you get depressed, Some parents get suicidal. They withdraw, they isolate. I mean, it's so easy to go into this trap.
How do you think
But
the kids
I would
feel?
like to remind you of all the good things you did as a mother. You birthed a freaking human being out of your body into this world. You cuddled it, you talked to it, you fed it, you nursed it, you swaddled it, you took it places.
Couple things. I would like to remind you of all the great things you've done as a mother. You gave birth. Second, I don't like the child being an it the whole time. I don't like treating it like an object because they just don't get that that's what they're doing. They don't get that like their kid is only as good to them as they are as a reaction. Like the kid, that's a person who should be allowed to have their own thoughts and feelings too. Yeah,
You passed
she's
it
had
around
some
the
bad
family,
faces.
and everyone made googly eyes at this beautiful little baby, whether it was a son or a daughter. You got up in the middle of the night all the time to like feed it and love it, and there was just so much that went into this little baby. And then the baby became a toddler, and when it started screaming in the restaurant, you took it outside.
Yeah.
Him or her, you comforted this toddler, and you clothed this toddler, and you gave this toddler food and shelter and toys and family experiences. You took the child to Disneyland, maybe.
Well, it's an easy way. Calling the child in is an easy way to separate yourself from having to think about that child also being like, something that has to deal with you. So you can just be like, the child is only what it is to me. So I fed the thing. The thing should treat me good. I woke up in the middle of the night. The thing should love me. I take the thing into school. Should be grateful.
Or other parks or play dates with other moms. And then, if you had to go to work, then you would put the child in daycare and work with the daycare to make sure that the child was behaving and learning socialization skills. And then the child went to school, and then you had to deal with all of the school things. Getting to know the teacher and making sure that the child was behaving, and more food, more clothes, more toys, more love, more family experiences, just more and more and more. Every night and every day, you poured love and energy and expectation into this child, because most parents want their children to grow up to be the best possible people they can be. And so they just shower them with love.
I realized something earlier when she was talking about how the family unit in the United States, the American family unit is being destroyed. And she brought up divorce, and then I brought up divorce, and I regretted it immediately. This entire channel is run by her and her husband, who's the stepfather of their estranged child. Like, you're bringing up issues that apply to you and then just not realizing it. But these people are never going to realize that they're just incapable of being good people.
And affection and attention. And, then the child gets older, and they have to, they're in grade school, and they have to do homework, and they don't want to do the homework. And so you have to find ways to just get the child to do the homework, because if the child doesn't do the homework, they're going to fail in school and probably fail in life. And that's the last thing you want as a parent, for your child to fail in life. And
what are you talking about, woman?
More and more and more and more. There's birthday parties and Christmas presents and Easter and Valentine's and cards and gifts and more outings and vacations. And, maybe things go well.
Kid doesn't do their homework, so you beat them so that they do it, so that then they don't fail in life. But in them not failing in life, they realize I was abusive, and they decided not to talk to me. And instead of being like, maybe I failed as a parent, I find a way to blame them for it.
With your partner, and you're able to keep it together as a family unit, but maybe not. Maybe something happens, and maybe the dad goes off and has an affair, or maybe he gets verbally abusive, or maybe he gets physically abusive, or maybe he just, I don't even know. Maybe he has a mental problem that's undiagnosed, and it becomes untenable to stay in the relationship. And for the sake of the child, you decide to end it, or they decide to end it. And maybe that's amicable. Maybe you guys are able to work out the co-parenting thing, but maybe not. Maybe the other spouse is vindictive. And turns the kids against you and becomes the fun dad where he's got all the money, and so the kids want to go off and be with him, and
what is going
you're
on?
the stable one, and they always come back to you, but then they go to, and then you're all trying to sort that out. Everybody is just trying to sort that out. But through it all, you are doing the best you can with what you have. Maybe you have to, take a second job to make ends meet. You've got to pay the rent or the mortgage. You've got to buy the food, the insurance. You got to buy the kid the iPad. You have to do all these things for the child. And yes, you signed up for this. I mean, unless the child was an accident. But even if the child was an accident, you could have given the child up for adoption. But no, you did not give the child up for adoption. You bonded with the child. You love the child. You want to keep the child. You committed yourself to raising this child into a beautiful, healthy human being. That's every parent's goal.
Dude, it's 8.5 minutes of nothing. Of you describing a parent having a kid.
It's not easy. And yes, we make mistakes along the way. But when you put the good things...
It would be so funny if you just saw Bigfoot just walking by one of the trees in the back.
I did for my child every moment of every day. If you count up the millions of good moments you had, the laughter, the reading stories, the watching movies together, the picking up rocks, the walking on trails, the going to the zoo, just even playing around the house with a little ball or something. All those millions of good moments, those go in your pro column, okay? And then there are going to be those moments where you effed up, you yelled, maybe you shook them,
what?
Maybe you gave them a spanking when you shouldn't have.
Maybe you those times when you messed up, when you yelled, maybe you shook them. Maybe. Listen, dude, take them right out of their crib and just stop screaming. You're 3 months old. Grow up. Put him back down.
Or you thought it was too much, or who knows? Maybe you gave him a spanking when you shouldn't have, or you thought it was too much, or who knows? You made him.
I did not get spanked as a child. Never. I've been slapped. I've been punched. I've been thrown. Never spanked. So.
Mistake. Maybe you didn't get them the organic food and that was the only thing they wanted. You didn't give them the candy that they wanted, or whatever. You had to deny them something they wanted, and you thought it was for their own good, and they never forgave you. They never forgot it.
Oh, that's so stupid.
Those are okay. Those are on the con side of things. You have the pro side, all the good things you did for your child to do your best to raise this child. And then you did the bad things, the con things, I screwed up. I shouldn't have done that. I overreacted. But I'll tell you, the parents that I talk to, there are just gazillions more moments in the pro column than there are in the con column. And I think we lose sight of that. If you're the conscientious, loving parent who did their very best and messed up once in a while, the good in that million moment column way outweighs the bad in those every once in a while you screwed up column. And as long as you did your very best to do the right thing with what you knew at the time, that is all you can ask from yourself. That is really all you can do.
I don't know what she's saying anymore.
And if the child decides to leave, you have to let them go. You have to let them go. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say that, but that's the cold hard.
She spent 10 minutes talking about all the things that you do as a mom. And then 30 seconds on maybe here's some bad things. Maybe you shook them as a baby.
Hard truth. You have to let them go. They're adults. They're making their own choices. They're on their own journey. You have to give them up to the universe, to God. You have to trust that they're going to do the best they can do with what they know. That's what they're doing right now. And you tormenting yourself over those, dozen, maybe it was 24, maybe it was 100 things you did wrong, and not even thinking about the millions of things that you did right every moment. You've got to stop. You've got to stop doing this. You've got to stop beating yourself up. You really can't blame yourself for everything. You can blame yourself for those mistakes you made, and you can try to correct those mistakes or apologize for those mistakes or absolutely learn from those mistakes. But we do a lot more right than we do wrong as mothers. Motherhood is
I think that when they say things like this, like we do a lot more right than we do wrong, Oh, why am I hate when people do this, but then I do it. I explain everything like chess sometimes because I've been playing a lot of chess lately. Not good at it. I just play a lot. When you like get into your opening, and as long as you're doing like a known opening, when you go to review it, it doesn't say like great move. It says book move, which is what you're supposed to do there. It doesn't say, wow, you're so smart. It says, yes, this is what you would do if you learned this opening on both sides until one of you does something that is not a part of the opening. Sometimes you just have to do stuff. And part of doing things as a mother is doing things that require doing things as a mother. You have to raise a kid. And in your pros column, you wrote down all the things you were supposed to do. You wrote down birthing the child. And in your cons column, you put maybe you shook the thing. I am so much less worried with the things that you were supposed to do. I feel like you just, what are the positive things outside of things you were supposed to do? I can't name any. I didn't have a childhood like that. But like, give me something, dude. When you found your kid's TikTok, you were kind of like, this is weird. Why didn't you just not say anything about it? Why didn't you just not stalk them? Why don't you just not read comments looking for yourself? You didn't even read the comments. You read the comments specifically to look for signs about you.
Noble calling. Okay? And those mothers who stick with their children as long as they possibly can, sometimes they get into a situation where the other parent gets the kids and they can't be in their kids' lives as much as they want. But as long as you've done your best to be there for them, that's all you can do. They are human beings now. They always were human beings, but they're adults now. They're doing their own thing. And what torments us is our expectations. Mm-hmm. It's that dream we had of, oh, I'm gonna, my kid's gonna get married and she's gonna have grandkids.
It's the expectation you have without doing any of the work needed for it. You have this expectation that no matter how you raise your child, they're going to love you. We don't know. She's out in the middle of nowhere. You should raise your kid in a way that lets them know that you love them. You should try hard. And that is all anyone can ask for. When you are a bad parent and you refuse to just say that, that's so stupid. Book.
And kids, and we're going to do family things like we did growing up and like she had growing up. And when that doesn't happen, these are dreams you may not even know that you had. And when that doesn't happen, or maybe you do get to know your grandchild and then boom, it gets cut off for some reason that you don't fully understand. You can't do anything about it. You can't control it. You can't force anything. You can only respect whatever boundaries they've given you. You can only accept what is. If they haven't said no contact, you can somehow let them know the door is always open. And if they said no contact, then I learned the hard way, no contact. And I have to just let her go. I have to let her go.
But you didn't do that. She said no contact and you kept contacting her. We saw the video.
She's an adult. She's
but no,
supporting
nothing's
herself.
Moving.
She's making her own decisions. She's following her dreams. I am still proud of her. I still love her. If she ever wants to come back, she can. But if she never comes back, I am fully aware that that's a possibility. And it is what it is. I can't do anything about it.
No, it's definitely real.
So all of my expectations or dreams of what I thought my older years would be like in terms of family, I had to let them go. Is that easy? No, it's not easy. It's very hard. It's a process.
Oh, I smashed my head yesterday. I can feel where it hurts.
Involved. It is a journey of grief at its very core. And healing is a spectrum. It's a spectrum from 0 to 100%, and I don't think anyone is ever 100% healed from this, because most parents I talk to, when a child just up and leaves and doesn't want anything to do with them,
I hate that this is your whole personality.
It's like a hole in their heart. And that hole, you may patch it up like you darn a sock and the sock still works, and you've got all the rest of the knitting around it, so it functions, but there's a scar there. There's a scar, and the trick is to get from that sort of Band-Aid, scabbed over condition where any little thing rips it open and makes it bleed again, to the scar where, yes, it's healed over. Yes, I see it's there. It's a reminder of what I went through. It's one of those things, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's not easy, but you can get past this. You can get through this, and it's not giving up. Some parents seem to think that if they stop reaching out, if they stop trying to connect, if they stop trying to be in their child's life, that they're giving up, and it's wrong to give up. But it's not giving up. Giving them their space, giving them to God, giving them up to the universe, giving into trust that they can manage their lives now, that you've done your part, giving them the space to walk away and be who they are and do their own thing. And yeah, sometimes it's scary because if your child
she's
is
just yapping, like she's not said anything.
To alcohol, and you live every day thinking you might get that call from the police that your child was found dead in a ditch, yeah, that's scary. But you can't live a life in limbo. You can, and I see people doing it, and they're freaking miserable. Healing is a choice. It's a mindset. You have to decide that I am sick of the suffering. I am sick of crying every day. I am sick of worrying about the dead in the ditch thing every day. I am sick of putting my life on hold because of this. I am sick of ignoring my other children that still are with me because I can't stop obsessing about the one that isn't. You have to be sick of the stress it might be putting on yourself and your spouse. You can be miserable. I was miserable for a long time. I was miserable, but I also realized that this was a process, and I knew that I didn't want to be miserable my whole life. And especially as we get older, our time is less. Our timelines are shorter on this planet. Our time, we don't have as much time. And so do you want to spend your time in misery, or do you want to spend your time picking up the pieces and giving love to those around you who are still around you? And if you have nobody, if you're all on your own, and some women are,
imagine like she's not even like her kids aren't even estranged from her. Someone's forcing her to make these videos. This is a green screen. She's in a basement. Someone's forcing her to make this video. And when she's reading off her notes, she's not. She's reading off of someone else's like cue cards. It's Ted,
community, wherever you can, of people who can accept you for who you are, who don't mind that your children don't talk to you. There's community for everyone out there, but you have to.
I would not tell anyone. If my kids decided as an adult that I was such a bad person that they didn't want to talk to me anymore, I would not tell anyone. I wouldn't tell a single person.
Mindset thing. You really have to. Yes, you need to grieve. You need to feel the feelings. You don't want to just shove them in a corner and not express them. You want to express them, but you need to express them and then regroup, and then something's going to trigger you and you're going to express them again, and then you're going to regroup. And this is the grieving process. This is the grieving process, and you need to have a vision of where you want to be on the other side. I think you need to believe that you can get through this. You can get through this. You can have a fulfilling life.
We're not the audience for this.
You have left, or with the husband you have left, or with the friends you have left if you're without family. You can go out and make friends even if you're alone. And I know it's hard when you're sitting alone and you're depressed and you think nobody wants to hear about this, nobody cares. And I tell you, there is help for everyone out there. You have to seek it out. You just have to seek it out and be determined to get through this. Learn what you can. There are so many good books. There's a lot of good YouTubers out there. There's just a lot of resources out there if you search for it. all of them have something to offer, whether it's a psychiatrist or a therapist or just a regular mom or dad who's been through it, a support group, a Facebook group. There are so many resources. And I am telling you that you need to look at the millions of moments on the good side that you really did do your best to raise this child.
You think she watches DRXX?
This child, shelter this child, give this child the toys and the friends and the experiences and the enrichment and the education. The best you could do. We just have to deal with the cards that we're dealt and do the best we can with what we have. And even our kids who've left us for whatever reason are doing the best they can with what they have. And they're just trying to figure it out for themselves. So I think we just need to
oh my God.
Be compassionate
Don't
for
do
them.
Toast.
Be compassionate for ourselves. Be compassionate for the other parents that are going through this. And I think we just need to, just remember all the good stuff we did.
Oh, I don't like her.
All the good stuff we did.
Dude, I get nothing out of this.
And
I think she's so stupid.
Just take note of what we didn't do well. Learn from it. If there's some way we can impart that wisdom to someone else, maybe help the next generation so that they don't have this problem with their kids. It's time. It's time for us to let go.
What wisdom? What wisdom? But you're saying that so the next generation doesn't have this problem. They should learn to let go, learn to be good parents, and then you don't have the problem.
And find other ways to give back to people who do want our love, to people who do feel that we have some value to offer. And, we did our jobs. The kids are gone. This is our time. This is our time now to kind of bask in the sun a little bit after a long, hard day's work. And it's okay. It's okay if it didn't turn out perfect. It's okay if they're gone. It's okay if, it's okay if they never talk to us again. I know it's hard to believe, but it's okay. It is what it is. And leave it to God if you believe in God. Leave it to the universe. Leave it to fate. Leave it to random chance. Leave it to nature. Whatever it is, just let it be.
The comments on here are going to make me sad.
Do your best to find places to apply yourself where you can be of service to others. I think being of service to others is one of the best ways to claw your way out of this hole that you might be feeling like you're in. Look on the good side, be of service to others, compassion for them, compassion for yourself, mindset. You can do this. You can do this.
I hear about this heartbreak and anger of estranged parents. This is exactly how I felt when I poured my heart out to my mother. I shared about my pain, how I felt used and abused, how I didn't dare to tell her my honest feelings due to lack of trust. Her response, nothing. She asked if I want to go to the museum with her to play pretend like she never hurt me. She didn't like the honest adult child that has more self-respect now and sets healthy boundaries with her. She wanted me to continue to play pretend and love her and be a good daughter and suppress my emotions like I did my entire life. When I drove home, my heart ached and I was angry. Another day, I came again because I wanted to tell her everything. She just shut me down. She didn't even care to listen. It was horrible for me. All the pain she put me through. She didn't even care to listen because she hates feeling any shame or guilt. So the heartbreak and anger you feel is probably just the same pain your child went through. There's a law in relationships. We often set up people to feel how we feel. So maybe now you feel how your child felt in a relationship with you. I believe oftentimes children love their mothers more than the other way around. There's no one who will need you as much of Max. There's no one who will need you as much a vulnerable, completely. Okay, that's why. There's no one who will need you as much as a vulnerable, completely dependent child. Children really love you and really need you too. So if a child breaks away, you most likely cause them much, much pain. My mother hurt me deeply. I miss her a lot. I cry a lot. But I will not sacrifice my self-respect in order to be close to her. The distance causes me mental health issues. That's how much I love my mother and how much I worry about how the distance is affecting her. But she made me feel like crap under her shoes and does not want to take responsibility. She never hearts these comments. Granted, there's not a lot of them that are hearted this time, so maybe she didn't read them. My mom is also delusional. Yeah. Each time I watch these videos, it's abundantly clear why a child would want to stay away. Ooh, yes. Are we all just against her now? Parents, how do you feel about letting go? Very sad. So sad. I wish that you would post a poll for this channel asking estranged parents if their estranged children are 1, seeing a counselor, 2, taking antidepressants, 3, taking any sort of possible mind-altering medication. Reason being, I noticed a huge change in my 13-year-old grandson when his doctor placed him on an antidepressant. I began looking into it and discovered how it affects the frontal lobe. He lost all interest in church and God. That's the part of the brain that is responsible for our feelings of love and intimacy. Praise God, my daughter has had him taken off that medication, but I dread to think the possible effects. He had to continue taking it. I would not be surprised at all to learn that these estranged children are taking some sort of medication that has caused them to feel the way they do. The only sad thing is that you would probably never be able to convince them to stop taking the medications, or you're just seeing the counselor that has prescribed them, or to just stop seeing the counselor that has prescribed them. But you may take solace in knowing that it may be the medication that is cause for the behavior. There's so much happening there. Why don't all of them just talk about God when they're wrong? Oh, yes. No more excuses. Show us a letter. I want to see the letter. Until then, all of this is rumors and bitterness. Show us all that we are wrong, but you won't, because you know damn well she's right. And even if you think her reasoning is not valid, which she said the reasons were not good enough, you know damn well that we all will validate her. Go to therapy. Yes. Exactly. Agreed. Show us a letter. You don't get credit for feeding, sheltering, clothing, and attempting to guide your children. That is a job you signed up for. The kid didn't ask for it. Your children don't owe you anything for that. No child wants to go no contact with their parents. Sometimes it's necessary. Eventually, just like one might leave an abusive, toxic spouse, they have to take that decision and leave. Permanent. Please seek therapy. Yes, seek therapy. Introspection within yourself is stupid. You're not going to learn anything talking to yourself. All children deserve a parent. Not all parents deserve a child. Yes. Are our comments disabled for your original video? Do you talk to your mom? Sometimes we treat others the way our mothers treated us. When my daughter sent me a mother stay in your lane letter, I went down her letter point by point and addressed each one individual letter until you maybe do this and keep it between you two. It may work better. Yes, I was swerving all over my grown daughter's lane. Stop going into the past. Reread her letter. Address what she's saying to you. Much love. Open your heart. Yeah. You're a stalker at this point? Fantastic. Great comment. To me, these videos are almost satire. Like, is this a Saturday Night Live sketch? Calling your baby and toddler it? Yes. The non-apologies, the super obvious why some children become estranged because they feel you never have respected them as a whole person. They're in it. When they're little, they're a whole human because that's what his mom's supposed to do. Of all things I hear, not one is a genuine heartfelt apology. She is not like to sing. Yes. Okay. No. Okay. These are all not liked by her. Later, I worry about my daughter, so nothing about her. It was not me. Happened to me twice with the same child. First time he apologized. We started all over. No clue. He said, does not want me to die, but just don't get it.